Herodotus, in fact, Daniel Robinson, who's an Oxford professor on philosophy, said that, he analyzed Herodotus. Why was Herodotus so obsessed with sort of the details of not just the Persians, but the Hellenic armies? And his conclusion is essentially that men who go to war don't hate each other. Men who go to war are fighting over conflicting values, and they fight under symbols, they fight under slogans, they fight under the idea that their way is better, and they have to essentially protect what they love from that particular group of barbarians who are mistaken and are coming in to change us for the worst. If you look at, there's a book called The Nobility of Failure. The majority of the kamikaze in World War II, the Japanese, were actually not mathematicians. They were students of the humanities. They were students of poetry and things, and they would write these poems home, these haikus to their families before they would die. And I read a number of them. They're quite beautiful. And the idea was, I'm sacrificing myself for the love of my country, for the love of my family, and for the love and the sake of purifying or keeping my country and my way of life pure.
Right.
So there seems to be that sort of those are strong undertones. I mean, I think that at West Point, there's a statue, and under the inscription it says, "A nation defines itself upon what it's willing to fight for." I think human beings do the same thing in some ways. You define yourself on what you're willing to fight for, and maybe even die for. I have those principles, and I'd probably
Okay, so that's a great example of how we are able to commit ourselves to other things. So we commit ourselves to another person, and that's love, and that's generally good for society, good for everyone. We can commit ourselves to an ideology, to a country, to a cause, and you can certainly point to cases where that has been disastrous, particularly when that love is manipulated by a dictator, especially a fascist dictator, because fascism is all about having the nation be the all-encompassing organism, family. It's all that matters. But if other than fascism, love of country is actually, I think, a good thing. People on the left are often uncomfortable with it because people on the left tend to be more universalistic. They don't like divisions between groups. That's a very positive thing. I'm not knocking it, but I think that they often are wary of patriotism, where love of country is overwhelmingly positive. So, for example, think about intramural sports. If you play sports in college or any other team, you have a team of guys on a softball team or soccer, whatever it is. You begin to love them. You work together. You become one. It's thrilling. It's self-transcendent. Now, do you hate the other team? No, you don't. You really don't.
Right.
So it's like you get love of the group goes up, but it's not purchased at the cost of hatred for the other side. Now, what can happen is in sports competition, things can get really nasty. There can be a team that's like maybe they fouled you or they did something.
Sure.
And then you start and so you can develop a rivalry that gets really toxic. And British soccer hooliganism is not like intramurals. They really want to just beat the hell out of each other. And
they're very good at it too.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Hey, Brian, maybe you can do your Scottish accent on this.
My Scottish. That's right. Or a Manchester accent. Those guys out there like that talk like this. Very dangerous.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, the other aspect though is also, there's a book called Our Inner Ape that I read recently, and he talks about the different primates and how they're chimpanzees capable of terrible brutality, eating each other's young and stuff like that. But at the same time, they will sometimes, and the examples in zoos where a chimp adopts a baby, a bird with a broken wing that it finds and nurses it back to health. We are a bipolar ape, human beings, aren't we? I mean, we're capable of incredible violence and terrible things, as we all know, and also selfless love to the point of sacrificing our own lives.
That's right, and that's what makes us such an interesting species to study.
Yeah.
Many philosophers or commentators from around the world have noticed that we are part divine, part animal.